Share it. Welcome to Speed and Easy Interactive Week, coming to you live from Studio 3 in Naperville, Illinois. Your host for today, Mr. Tim Morgan.
Pretty exciting lineup we have today. We're going to come out of the box really quickly with Frank Phillips from Rivian here with us. So, we're going to have a great presentation this morning on the certified repair network that Rivian has put together to be able to service their new vehicles. Take it away, Frank.
All right. Thanks, Tim and Carl. Appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you guys this morning and sharing your interactive event this week. Thanks for the invitation. I know that Kelly and I were super excited to have a chance to spend a few minutes with your customers and the folks who are participating today. So welcome, everybody. We'll jump right into this. As Tim alluded to, my name's Frank Phillips. I'm the network manager for Rivian Automotive in the collision program for North America. And so really what I do is I get the fortunate pleasure of getting to work with the best collision centers around the country and developing a collision network for Rivian to repair our vehicles. And so Tim was gracious enough to extend an invitation to spend some time here, and we'll talk through really what Rivian's collision program looks like, what we believe it makes us different from other manufacturers, and really our goal and focus to really give back to the collision industry as a whole. I'm sure as all of us who are on this phone have the same equal level of passion for the industry. I've been doing this for a number of years myself, just like everybody, and it's always been my goal and what I've always strived for is to figure out how, in the big picture at the end of my career, that we get to do something that's cool and long lasting on the industry to help make collision repair better and raise the bar as far as quality repair and our relationships with insurance carriers and all of the things that are involved with handling a collision repair. At the core root of all of that is the customer and the person who owns that vehicle and that experience that they go through. So when Kelly and I sat down and talked about what we wanted a certified collision network to look like, those were really our key factors. How do we deliver something to our consumer that's purchasing our vehicle that really aligns to what Rivian's culture is here, and that's very much an adventure lifestyle and very customer centric. And so if you've followed anything online with Rivian and some of the things that we're doing, I'm sure you've seen recently we opened our Venice Experience Center in Southern California, where you can go in and touch and feel the car and see the things that it's capable of and experience what Rivian stands for. We've seen things about our charging network and all the different things that we're doing to really establish ourselves as the adventure vehicle with a sustainable path. And so we really wanted to align to that with our collision program. And so we really set the stage with saying, okay, what can we do in the collision industry that kind of matches up to that adventure and that, that open freedom feeling that Rivian really thrives to achieve for customers. And so we said, all right, let's make sure that we first off have a very customer-centric network that understands what Rivian's customer experience is all the way through, from the front to the back in every aspect. Lots of different things that Rivian is doing as far as the customer experience goes. If you're a Rivian owner, you really have a concierge. They're called a guide, and that guide is your one-touch phone call to anything Rivian that you might have. And so really kind of bringing that level of experience into the collision network was really one of our key focuses. And so we said, in order to do that, we have to start with making sure that they understand who Rivian is, and they being our collision network. So we put a lot of focus in developing some training to really bring the culture of Rivian into our network and establish a partnership with our collision shops that really truly is a collision repair partnership and not just a OE certification program. So that was really our focus there. And how do we do that? We also have to make sure that we have the proper training put in place. When you're talking about an electric vehicle, it's new or newer at least, right? There's it's the big tsunami that's coming. We all know it. There's no secret about it. EV is going to be the future of the vehicles that we all drive. And so we said, okay, in order to be successful here, we have to make sure that we have a very robust and strong training program as well. So those key things are really what we focused on as our mission statement when we set out to develop our program. So we broke that down a little bit further, and we said, okay, let's really dig in and talk more about what revolutionizing the collision industry means. And it really truly means coming up with doing things differently, but not just to do them differently, but to actually do them differently that makes a difference and has an impact. So we partnered with some different organizations and some unique approaches to the industry from a network management perspective. There's a lot of programs out there that use different tools to manage their OE certified program. We opted to go with a program, at least here in North America, that is brand new. We're partnered with two companies, CCI and ITOS. ITOS is a UK-based company, and CCI is based out of Canada. Those two organizations come together and really help Rivian through a strong partnership, develop a network tool that allows us to bring a lot of power to the collision center to help manage the entire Rivian program. But the benefit in the big picture to the collision center is that program also helps them manage the day-to-day stuff that's going on in their shop. Whether you were talking about maintenance on a resistant spot welder, whether you're talking about an annual inspection on a two-post lift, whether you're talking about tracking training that has to be completed for the Rivian program, or maybe even other OE programs are out there. So this tool now allows a collision center to really track all that, receive notifications on when those things are due and they need to be completed, and really help you, set you up for success. So when my team that's out in the field comes in and performs a visit with you, whether that's a qualification assessment, checking out your equipment to see if you're capable of working our vehicles, or if once you're in the network and you're performing repairs, we come in and do spot assessments on the repair quality that's going on in the collision center. This tool really helps the shop be able to be successful in tracking those things, and helps Rivian also be successful in helping our shops perform at the levels that we've set as standard expectations. So that, what we believe, truly feeds into delivering the best customer experience. We're able to deliver up front. We can help a collision center with all of the things that they need in order to successfully deliver to that customer the experience that we expect. And that means a high quality repair done as efficiently and timely as possible, and get that vehicle back in the customer's hands. All the things that we all want as basic foundations of owning and operating a collision center. So nothing, nothing new. There's no magic about our approach. It's really just honing in and uncovering the opportunities that bring visibility to help make that more successful for the collision shop. And so at the end of all that, we said, if we can accomplish that, that really will truly make us a great partner to our industry as a whole. Rivian's in the business of manufacturing vehicles. That's what we do. That's our goal here, right? That's only a small piece of the goal of Rivian as a company. And so we said our collision network, we want to approach it in the same manner. Our goal is to make sure that our vehicles get repaired safely and properly. But at the same time, we also want that goal to be big enough that we understand that we can make a difference to the industry as a whole. And we want collision shops to want to be on our program, not for revenue purposes, but because it's a good program to be part of and participate in and help them succeed as a collision center. We say it every day when we visit a collision center and we talk to them about becoming part of our network. Our focus is really understanding briefly about their quality of repair capability and the tools that they have. That's one component, the technical piece of it. But the bigger piece of it is really understanding that business's DNA, and does it align to Rivian's DNA as a company? And that's what really establishes a good partnership with a collision network. So that's really kind of what we dug into as we developed and kind of organized our vision and what we wanted to run through as a collision certification program for an OE. And that kind of got us on the ground, and we took off running. And so, yeah, you probably have seen that Rivian has a few different models that we're delivering this year. So because we have a commercial product with our what we call electric delivery van here at Rivian, that's the Amazon vehicle that we're building. You see on the picture here. And then the picture on the left is our R1T pickup truck. In addition, we have an R1S model that will be coming out this year also. Then that's our SUV. And so as we kind of went down the path of creating our network, we took a step back and said, look, our industry it's been challenged over the years with lots of different things: pressures from insurance companies, pressures from manufacturers, pressures from consumers, pressures from vehicle designs, and all these different things. How do we make sure that we don't add pressure to that as a new manufacturer? One of our challenges that we identified was that a commercial product is different than a consumer product. Rocket science, right? Imagine that. They're different. They're not the same vehicle. Well, what does that mean? They still have to be repaired safely and properly. We still have to make sure that we're protecting people that are inside these vehicles, as well as anybody who may encounter these vehicles on the road. But the process to repair them is different. The expectation might be different from a consumer owner who has an R1T versus Amazon's expectations for repairs on a commercial product. Also, the facilities that are required to repair these vehicles can be different. Any collision shop can probably fix an R1T. Not any collision shop can fix an Amazon electric delivery van. It's 9 feet 6 tall, and so it's not going to fit in any just standard paint booth, right? We're a sustainable company. We practice what we preach. We're not in the business of painting vehicles out in the open and violating the regulations and compliance requirements that are in place for our industry. And so with that, we said, okay, our best solution here is to really approach this from a twofold perspective. Let's create two networks, one for our passenger vehicles and one for our commercial vehicles. And then that way we can really focus in on collision centers' capabilities and appetite for business. Not all consumer collision centers want to fix commercial vehicles, and vice versa. And so it really made more sense for us to split the program. So essentially what we have is two certified collision programs, one of them for our passenger vehicle, and then the other one for our commercial vehicles that we will be building. So that's pretty exciting. The hard part with the commercial space is really identifying the differences. When you break down fleet repair versus standard collision repair, or more common collision repair that we're all very familiar with in fixing consumer vehicles, it's not typically the same approach to the repair. Most fleet vehicles are not as sophisticated as a consumer vehicle naturally. However, in our situation, that's not the case. In our EDV is very sophisticated. It has a lot of function and feature to it. A lot of work has gone into the design and development of this vehicle to make it safe and make it efficient and effective for Amazon to be successful in their business. And so that requires us to approach collision centers who are traditional fleet centers from the perspective of helping them understand what it's going to take to actually fix our vehicle and what makes it different, so that they have proper understanding when that EDV shows up in the collision center to be repaired. How do they approach it? What's different about it other than it being an electric vehicle? What's different about it than any other fleet vehicle that they fix? And so there's a lot of variances there, a lot of differences that need to be taken into account. Not unlike the R1T, there's a lot of differences there as well. It's a 21st century vehicle. It's a connected vehicle. We have a lot of those things that we have to take into account when it comes to repairability and the approach to fixing those vehicles, and always holding true to our North Star, making sure that we deliver on that customer experience to the level that Rivian has set. So it allowed us, splitting the program really allowed us to hone in and focus very specific on the key features of each one of those repair types and what it takes to repair those vehicles, whether you're talking from a technical perspective or even if you're just talking from an operational perspective and what the X's and O's and dollars and cents mean about fixing both of those vehicles. That was really what our vision was there. So how do we get all the way there? We said, okay, here's how we're going to do the program. How do we support this and deliver on our commitment to our program in making sure that we're delivering the best skilled and experienced technicians to fix our vehicles properly, and then also support the collision center operations from a manner of business sense and helping them be successful. So we broke it down, and we really have 3 components that we feel that work together in a very, very collaborative fashion, and it really helps us ensure that we're able to successfully deliver on our commitment. So the collision team, or the program within Rivian itself, is made up of, we've lumped it into 3 different categories. So we have a service engineering team, and those are the folks on the team who are really developing the repair procedures. They're validating the repairs that need to be completed when a vehicle is involved in a collision, and what all of those repairs mean. Can you section a vehicle? Is there an opportunity? How do you have to measure the vehicle? Do we have to set a vehicle up on a frame machine? All of those different types of validations that need to be completed are initiated with our service engineering team. So those folks jump into the CAD system, they get their hands on the product firsthand, and they really dig into determining what those procedures are, and then develop those procedures into a comprehensive manner that allows our technicians to successfully consume that information and follow the procedures to truly deliver a safe repair. A couple of the key things that we focused in on with the engineering team was, how do we create a procedure that's not overcomplicated, right? We've all seen them. You print a quarter panel OE procedure and it's 17 pages, and you have to reference 7 other different segments within the repair manual to find all the things that you need to do. And our goal was to not do that. Let's come up with a method that really provides a direct and simplified process for the technician in the collision shop to find the information they need to properly fix the vehicle. So our service engineering team is working really hard to develop that experience for our collision centers. We couple that on with our collision R&D workshop. If we put on paper that you're going to section a frame rail, well, we darn sure better make sure that you can actually section the frame rail the way the procedures say that you can, right? And so our R&D workshop really works true to perform those suggested repairs or required repairs and make sure that they pass the safety standards that are required to be a safe repair, and then time those and make sure that we have a good understanding of what it takes to actually accomplish those repairs for a collision shop. And so between the 2 teams, there's a group of service engineers, and then there's a group of what we reference as technical specialists. All of these folks are very technically skilled when it comes to collision repair. The technical specialists on the team, every single one of them has been a past collision technician, an A-tech as we reference in the industry, and they're very highly skilled and they understand. They also have been in the boots and the shoes of a collision technician, scratching your head trying to figure out how to fix something. So they take that approach in the procedures and say, let's make sure that we have something here that reduces the number of times I have to scratch my head to try to figure it out, right? And so they work very closely with the R&D team. And this is a live collision center that's located in Southern California in our El Segundo Service and Research and Development Center. And these folks are technicians that are right from the industry. They've came to work at Rivian to really perform these validation repairs, document those procedures that are required, and then give feedback to the service engineering team to make sure that what we're presenting to the repairer is right. What we're sharing with insurance companies around what's required to fix our vehicles is accurate and comprehensible to them so that they understand what the cost of repair should be. So then that's where my team comes into play, and that's the collision network team. My team's made up of a group of folks, regional managers and account managers and network specialists that are spread around the country. And these are the guys who are really out there establishing the boots on the ground relationships with our third-party collision network. And those are the folks that are going to see our vehicles. Electric vehicles are high-performance vehicles. I'm sure you've all read that the R1T has a performance rate of 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. You move a pickup truck, an SUV at that pace, it's cruising, right? I say it often. It's not going to be uncommon for the person behind the wheel to run out of skill before the vehicle runs out of performance. And in that instance, it's going to result in a situation that we're all going to get to meet together, right? And so we talk a lot about that with our collision network and understanding what our vehicle is capable of, and then making sure that they know that they've got conduit directly back to these other two groups within Rivian to make sure that they get what they need in order to fix the vehicle. It's not a send me an email or hope that there's somebody on the other end of a phone line or a voicemail that I may have to leave and wait a number of days or hours to get something back. Our instance, my network specialists are really our frontline folks. These are the folks who are taking those inbound phone calls, taking those chat messages, taking those service tickets that come in directly, and then they're routing those into our team appropriately. Where do those questions need to go? Do we have an insurance question specifically from an insurance carrier, and how do we partner with the Ribbian Insurance team to determine what we're going to do in that space and answer and provide information back to the insurance carrier? Is it from shop directly and they're trying to figure out how to order parts, or how they need to get a repair procedure and they're not able to find it? We can work with them and work closely hand in hand with them to make sure that they have what they need to get the vehicle repaired. Is it the consumer themselves that's calling in and concerned with how their vehicle is going to be repaired and asking for clarification? We really want to be, I use two terms. We want to be the conduit between all of the external relationships that's required in collision repair that comes back to the OE and to the insurer together so that we can share that information. And we also want to be the pillow that tends to be necessary between the repairer and the insurer sometimes, right? When they're butting heads, we want to be that pillow to kind of soften that blow. And so that's our real focus here in making sure that we deliver on that commitment to our consumers. That's also part of our partnership with our collision centers and our insurance companies. We're very transparent. One of the things that Rivian prides itself on as a company and culturally is how open we are. It's one of the greatest things about working here, honestly. And so we want that to translate all the way through, all the way out to external partners, so that they understand that our approach to this is a very open approach. If you've got a question, we want you to ask the question so that we can get you the answer. So at the end of the day, everything feeds back to that consumer experience so that they get the experience that they expected when they bought the Rivian, that was delivered when that very first phone call from that guide called them and said, hey, welcome to the Rivian family. I'm here to help you with anything you need with regard to your vehicle. So that's really kind of how we tie it all back every time, is back to that customer experience and how Rivian has set what we believe we've set that to an exceptional level of our competition. So that's really the network and kind of how we have organized it and how we approach it. Now, what does it take to be in our program, right? Not every collision center is going to make it into the program. Not every collision center out there that's qualified will get into the program, just because we're approaching this from the manner of, it's not a blanket certification. We have to make sure that we're responsive and responsible to our third-party network and make sure that they get a return on their investment. It's not cheap to be part of an OE certification program. It requires significant investment when it comes to tooling, specialized tooling, and different things. And so we want to make sure that those collision centers that we partner with have the best opportunity to be successful, both from a quality of repair as well as a financial perspective. So as we go through and build the network, we're very fortunate to have visibility into where our vehicles are going to go and where we're going to need collision centers. And it really aligns to where we're putting our service centers as well. As you likely know, Rivian's a direct sale company. You purchase our vehicles online. And so there's no dealership for you to go to. So in order to support ownership after sale, we have a service program that we have. And that service program's made up of different components. Carl and I were speaking last night about the vision of a connected vehicle and how it's really changes the dynamic of how you approach a repair. And a lot of times diagnostics and planning happens before the vehicle's even ever at a service center or collision shop, maybe in some cases. And so we get to approach it a little bit different and think about it differently in that manner. And so with service, we've set up a mobile service solution. So we want to be able to come to you. That should be our commitment to you, is not to put you out and have to come to us if it's not absolutely necessary. So when possible, we're going to bring a mobile service tech to you. Obviously, collision doesn't work that way. We have to bring the vehicle into a collision center to be repaired. That's the circumstances of the situation. But partnered with our service center together, we want to drive that collision network down the path of where our customers are at and where do they need us. And so that's how that's the first chink in the process, or the first check mark in the process to get certified collision centers onboarded. So once you're selected, we have an application process. You can submit an application through a link that we can provide to you. So if you're interested in the program, you can reach out to me directly. I got a group of folks that you can reach out to as well. And we're happy to get that link to you so that you can submit an application. That information is considered. My regional managers will review that, look at your location, and then determine from there, do we have a need, and where are we at in the process of developing the network in your location. Obviously, we're just now delivering vehicles. It's been publicly stated we started delivering in September, and that continues. And our goal is to deliver all 3 models this year. We're committed to having R1Ts, R1Ss, and EDVs on the road before the end of 2021, with production continuing to increase into 2022 in the foreseeable future. It's publicly stated Amazon has purchased 100,000 of the EDVs from Rivian today. And so our commitment is to make sure we get those to them as quickly as possible so we can make the greatest impact on our planet, right? And making sure that we deliver that sustainability factor that we're committed to. So the network is going to continue to grow. Right now, today, the network's made up of about 65 collision centers across the country. We'll continue to grow that a little bit this year yet. We're not all the way through everything that we need this year, but we're moving in the right direction. 2022, we anticipate to double the size of the network based on the needs with the commercial product. And then we'll go into 2023 with that, where we're looking at additional vehicles on the road at that point. So that's our vision. How do you become part of the program? How do you become part of the program after the application? We'll assess that information if you're selected. And we have this process up here on the screen that you kind of go through. We're going to get you through a credit check. We're going to validate your facility. We're going to come do an on-site. Nobody gets to be in our program until somebody from Rivian comes to your facility and puts hands on your facility, puts eyes in your facility, and shakes your hand as an owner or an operator. Make sure that your DNA aligns to our DNA, as I alluded to earlier. We've got a very robust training vision. We say it often here at Rivian. As you can imagine, in a startup situation, there's a lot of moving parts that you're trying to develop all at the same time. So we're definitely building the airplane as we're flying it here. Today, we have virtual live training, similar to this event, where we have a online presentation with a live instructor presenting to you. We will have virtual module training where you just log in at your leisure and attend a session and take the class at your pace. And then we will also have live training where you come to our El Segundo today, to our El Segundo training facility, attend training that's required for the program in order to deliver on your commitment to be certified. So that's our approach there with training. The live training will really probably kick off late in first quarter when we have some development there. Going to be really focused in on high voltage training, calibration training with our vehicle. As you can imagine, there's a few sensors and radars and different things on our vehicle that make it a little bit unique and capable. And so it takes some special training and skill to make sure that you properly assess those components and those systems to make sure that they work properly. Biggest hot button in the industry right now, right? We're all talking about calibration and how do we properly do that? What's the right approach to it? How do you diagnose it? How do you determine when it's needed and required? All of those things. So that's why we put it at the top of our list for live training. Talked a little bit about the operational support. with my network specialists that are like the frontline conduit folks, and then my regional managers. I also have a group of account managers who really handle each individual program, the consumer program and the commercial program. So really the backbone from an operational perspective, from a corporate angle, if you think about it, they're really handling a lot of the internal processes that we develop here at Rivian, and then sharing those downstream with the regional folks that are out in the field. One unique piece of operational support that we have, we believe, is we have an estimation analyst. Really, this person's role is Brandon Chinden is my estimation analyst. Some of you guys may know him from your experience at Solera in the past. Brandon joined us last year or earlier this year, and really his focus is helping us develop accurate databases, working with the estimation companies to make sure that our information is delivered and conveyed in those systems accurately and efficiently and effectively. Again, all pointed back to that customer experience. The better we can create the repair plan up front, reduce supplements, reduce the lag time between parts ordering or parts reordering and those types of things, the more successful we are at delivering on our experience commitment. So Brandon's really focused in on ensuring that we have a really strong relationship with our estimating partners. Rivian's not a mandated estimating, our program doesn't mandate an estimating system, so we're working with all of them to really make sure that our collision centers can do business the way that they do business today, and that's by their choice, right? We're very much of the notion of not requiring specific items, but identifying what specific items are capable of, and then identifying what that specification is and making that the requirement. And so it really allows collision centers to have a choice. As long as they can have a welder in their shop that's 250 amps and is a pulse welder, you've met our specification, as an example. So that's really kind of how we approach that. What's kind of unique to the technology or the operational support piece of it, come back to the ITOS and CCI relationship that we have, our network tool. With that relationship and that partnership with CCI, it's really Rivian's ability to get information from our collision repair network, our data, and share that data with the collision centers from a performance management perspective. How can we help the collision center perform better on a Rivian repair? And also successfully do that, that can feed downstream on fixing their Toyotas and fixing their Fords or fixing whatever, their Maseratis, whatever other vehicle may be in the shop. We can give those processes that help them become a more efficient, effective collision center. I say it often, being part of our program, my goal with it, we can impact customer experience the greatest by making our vehicles the easiest to repair. And not easy by nature of the technician being able to fix it, but by providing all of the information that's required to repair the vehicle properly, effectively getting parts timely, effectively having information available to the collision center so that they can put that vehicle in process and move it through their collision center operation effectively. That's how we deliver on customer experience. And that's our commitment. We want the backbone of the program to really be that focus and that commitment to our partnership with the collision shop. Is that we're not going to come bonk you on the head. We're going to come be your partner. We're going to stand beside you, and that's our real focus. And so we're committed to that. My team is very focused on that as our core value, and we'll continue to move right through that path, and that's our vision. So that's kind of how the program is tailored and how you make your way through. Once you get through the credit check, you jump into the onboarding process, and then you go through all of these steps and become part of the family, as we like to say. So one of those steps in that onboarding process is really the tooling. So what's required? Obviously, that's the key backbone of what every single one of us do every day. And that's the equipment and the tooling and the processes that we use in the collision shop to repair a vehicle. So I alluded to our approach to it. We have a very open list of qualified tools, but we also feel like we have identified the very important items that are required to properly repair a vehicle. Rivian vehicles are not, they're not mystique. They're not constructed of some unobtainium type of product. It's truly just a typical vehicle. It's mixed material. You're going to be able to fix the vehicle with the tools and the equipment that you have in your shop if you're a high-performing top industry collision repair center. This isn't going to be the vehicle for every single collision center in the country. There's a lot of them, 30 some odd thousand of them, right? We have 65 in our network today. So it takes that commitment to quality. It takes that commitment to following procedures, and it takes that commitment on investment from the collision shop to make sure that you have the best equipment, like Spinisi equipment, in your center to repair the vehicles. And so that's really how we focused in on this. It's an easy approach when you look at it from a specification versus putting a specific. Kelly has a great phrase. It says, if you want to have a failed OE program, require one estimating system, require one frame bench, and require one paint system. When you do that, you will be challenged to have a successful program. Our approach is not that. Our approach is to make sure that we embrace the people who fix vehicles and do that correctly, and they make those decisions. It's as a shop owner, it's your decision on where you spend your money and the equipment that you purchase. As long as that equipment meets the specifications that we've set, you're qualified to be part of our program. So that's kind of how we approach it. We want our shops to be partnered with folks like Tim and Carl and others in the industry that deliver the best equipment out there to ensure that our vehicles are repaired properly. Again, you'll hear me say it 1,000 more times probably before we're done here, to make sure that we deliver on that customer experience. So that's kind of where our specifications around tooling is and what it looks like. Got a slide here that kind of wraps us out as far as information about Rivian and really kind of gives you a little synopsis into what our vehicle is capable of from a technology perspective. It's an interesting view when you look at this and where we're headed, and some of the opportunities that we have as an industry to learn and get better at making sure that we're not just fixing dents in vehicles, but we're actually fixing the vehicle and everything that comes along with it. We've got a lot of different cameras. Our Amazon EDV has got, I believe it is 19 at last count, 19 different sensors around the vehicle for them to have visibility to all of the things that are going on around those delivery vans. They are very large. If you can imagine, we have a couple of different models of them, but if you can imagine the largest Sprinter, if you've seen that, that's the smallest EDV that Rivian is building. So kind of a comparable, if you have that in your imagination. So you have that large vehicle driving up and down our residential streets. It's very important that there's proper cameras and proper safety equipment on that vehicle to ensure that children don't get injured and bad things don't happen, right? We all have seen the Amazon Prime drivers pull up to our doors. So those folks have a big job to do. They're delivering a lot of stuff on a schedule, a lot of things going through their mind. The more that we can help them with making sure that the vehicle's thinking for them when it can, the better off we all are in the end there from a safety perspective. So these are just a few things that we do have available in our vehicle. It's almost not unique anymore when you start talking about high-end vehicles or most of the standard and well-equipped vehicles today. Lane departure, adaptive cruise control, all the blind spot monitoring, those types of things. I do think our camera technology in view of when you walk in front of the car, it actually picks up your image. If you're on a bicycle, it can tell that somebody's on a bicycle and it displays that on the screen. It's pretty cool. There's some pretty neat telegraphics that happen with those sensors. So guys, that's really what I had to present. Hopefully that you find that interesting. I know we've got about 20 minutes left here. Happy to take on any questions, any comments, anything like that, and just kind of open it up from here, Tim.
I'm amazed that you guys have been able to put together such a robust program in such a short period of time. And I know things are always fluid. So I have to give kudos to you guys over at Rivian. I know we've worked hard with you in matching the blueprints to our data, our specifications on our equipment to make sure it matches your needs. And I have to say, you guys have been really responsive. I applaud you for what you're trying to do with the body shop network. That's the biggest stumbling block, I think, for a startup is having the right network in place. I'm very familiar with the startup. I started this company up. And you got to walk before you can run. We get it. But being able to partner with shops the way you're going to partner with them is something that you don't see out of the other manufacturers today.
That was our goal, Tim. We really wanted to set the stage to be different, and not different just to say that we're different, but different to be better. And we hold true to that. I mean, we're not going to be perfect. We're going to have opportunities to get better, and we'll be the last guy out there telling you that we're perfect. But we definitely think we have an opportunity to do some pretty cool things in the space of OE programs.
You set the bar pretty high, I have to say. If anyone wants to catch up, you just raise that bar up a few.
Thanks, I appreciate that. That's our goal.
Yeah, especially in the beginning when I seen credit check, I'm like, ooh, wow, that's a good start.
Yeah.
But one question that I have when you start to look at the structure of the vehicles, are these unitized bodies or these full frame bodies? What is the shop going to be looking at when it comes to the structure?
Sure. Yeah, great question. So from a public perspective, what I can tell you is that the vehicle is a traditional body over frame design. So both the R1S and the R1T are both body over frame, as well as the EDV. The construction design of the skateboard, and you can go online and get a lot of information about the Rivian skateboard, is a little bit unique in its style. It's where the battery lives, right? This is really we call the skateboard the lower half. That's the frame and the battery and the drive units, and then we have the top hat, and that's really how, that's the passenger compartment, the creature feature area. The EDV is designed the same. The EDV frame's a little bit unique. It's got some modular design to it, but it brings a little different spin on a traditional frame, but it definitely fits in the category of body over frame.
Very nice, very nice. And I know from working with your team, you have put together some good repair procedures to be able to help facilitate the repairs instead of being so intrusive as we've seen in some other vehicles. So I'm pretty excited to see that also.
Yeah. I think that the industry will be pleasantly surprised with Rivian's product with regard to our repair procedures. We're going to take a little different swing at that one as well. I think that there's a couple manufacturers out there who do a really good job, and we want to leverage what's really good and then try to come up with things that make that better. How do we make repair procedures interactive, right? How cool would it be that you could grab an image in a repair procedure and spin it around and actually be able to engage with it to see what you're trying to accomplish, right? Now, that's all where we want to go. I'm not telling you that's what we have out of the gate here, but that's definitely our vision, and that's what we're aiming for.
And I've been following along on social media of the first vehicles that are being released, and the customer responses are just amazing. And it seems like starting out very, very well. Yeah,
it's been. I made the joke. I said, "Man, Motor Trend couldn't have done us any more disservice by coming out and saying it's the best pickup truck they ever driven." 100 and some odd year old company, and make that statement. Nothing like setting the bar high, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's got to make you and your team very excited to be able to see, starting from not even a white body in your hand, to be able to start working on procedures and that type of thing. And then be able to be at the plant, seeing vehicles being made, the first ones being delivered, and great reviews from, as you said, from the industry and from and from the consumer on the product itself.
Yeah, it's incredible. I happen to be at the Normal factory right now, and I've been here this week, and it's so rewarding and energizing to get to walk through and touch the product and see it and see just what the level of quality it is and what Rivian's commitment is to making sure that it hits the mark and delivering on all those comments that you're hearing in social media and from the different, whether it's reporters and journalists who've experienced it or customers who have them in their hands now. So it's a big uphill challenge to get that and be able to maintain that. So I can assure you that it's being worked on very hard here to make sure that is exactly what happens with every vehicle.
I'll be waiting for my invitation to Normal, I'll tell you that.
Well,
Yeah,
you're not going alone. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Frank, last night we had a great conversation about the technology on this truck, and my concern is to the shop owners when they get a hold of these vehicles, are they going to be able to work on the technology on this, or are they going to be needing to bring in Rivian? On the sensors and everything else you got going on.
The technical part of it, the tangible pieces of it, Carl, there's no magic science in some of our equipment, that's for sure. Now the diagnostics piece of it, the programming piece of it, some of the software pieces of it, out of the gates, I think we would all be foolish to think that a shop would want to attack that by themselves until they have some experience with it. I think Rivian will work very closely. We really have a great vision with where our diagnostics will evolve into and how we will be able to support and help collision centers perform those diagnostics with success. Out of the gate, that's probably going to be a partnership with Rivian to make sure that it's done accurately until you have some experience with it. Over time, I have no doubt that we'll have a product that's more than capable of being handled and repaired confidently by the collision center on their own with their experience.
And these are pretty connected vehicles, based on our conversation. So you'll know when things are going wrong before the owner, essentially.
A lot of times, yep, that's absolutely true, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and that's another unique feature for your network also is from the information you're receiving from the connected vehicle, what's involved in the collision, so you can protect your consumer right away to make sure that their investment is going to be taken care of in a good manner.
Yeah. Tim, that's a good comment and something we didn't talk a lot about in the presentation. Rivian also has our own insurance product. And so when you look at the holistic ecosystem of a collision event, if we can keep that process, if a consumer is using Ribbian Insurance and a Rivian certified collision network shop, how does that really deliver that customer experience that we have set as our standard, right? It really helps keep that closed loop ecosystem and really do a good job of committing to that customer and delivering on that commitment. So that knowledge of a collision event, if Ribbian Insurance is their option, we can really expedite a lot of things in that space. So it's kind of cool when you really try to think down the road and think about the future and just exactly when we have hundreds of thousands and millions of vehicles on the road, what it will look like.
Well, you've been in this industry a long time and you've worn different hats, so you know what a good, happy customer is all about. And I'm sure somewhere along your lifetime you've seen some upset customers too. Whether
one or two,
whether it's waiting for parts or something that's caused the stall in the repair process. I just see this from you being able to offer the insurance product also, and then the information that you receive from the vehicle is going to be a much better experience for the consumer.
Yeah.
Because it's basically, like we are here with our 360 concept, it's a one-stop shop.
Exactly.
And you're going to cover everything.
Yep. That's right. When you set the bar at the level that we have on the experience piece of it, you better make sure you have all the pieces, right? All 360 degrees. You got to have every single one of them. You don't have a circle if you have 359.
Right. So if there's any other questions that are out there, just drop them in the chat and we'll get them out to, we have about 7 to 8 minutes left.
There's one question and it came in to the chat, and it surrounds the ability to fix these vehicles, the Rivian vehicles, in a shop that's not certified, and being able to get parts and so on for it. And
Sure.
Because we know, being from this industry, everybody's got their friend Bob or John or whoever it is down the street, and he works on all my vehicles. Is he going to be able to work on this vehicle?
Yeah, great question, Carl. And we didn't cover specifically parts within the presentation. Happy to speak to it at a high level. Probably the key piece and piece of information that anybody interested in the Rivian program should know, and that is the Rivian structural parts are restricted to our certified collision network. So if you're not certified and trained on fixing Rivian vehicles, you're not going to be able to get parts that are welded, bonded, or riveted to the vehicle. You're not going to be able to get safety parts that are required for those repairs, such as airbags and those types of things. And you're not going to be able to get high voltage components. So it requires that certification and training to access those parts. We won't restrict 100% of our parts. There will be opportunity for cosmetic parts to be obtained from collision centers who may not be certified. Now, the caveat to that, that last slide that I showed, the amount of technology that's in our vehicle and the requirements of calibration brings a different spin on making sure the vehicle is repaired properly. We have a specific calibration process that's required, and the targeting that's required for that process is also restricted to certified collision networks only. So those targets won't be available out in the aftermarket, so you'll have to be certified in order to secure those targets.
Well, and when you look at what you're doing in that, and I think you're 100% correct in the way that you're operating, because you have a really high-tech vehicle, not the average person in the body shop.
Yes.
You'll have the experience to be able to do those types of repairs. So
yep.
It just makes sense.
Experience and space and the right environment, right? When calibration isn't something just simple, we can fix a dent in an aluminum fender pretty easily. We can put a curtain around the repair area and make that repair. We can paint it. We can be successful in that regard. But if you don't have the proper conditions to perform a calibration, how effective is your repair at the end of the day? The dent's repaired and the paint is shiny, but the safety systems that customer paid a lot of money for may not work properly.
Well, and even down to you said to be able to obtain cosmetic parts, that makes me think in the back of my head that someone takes off a cover or something and discovers that there's some railway before they do next. You know, we really need to evaluate the whole complete repair before we even start to think about even something that's non-structural.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's hard, you know, as we move, right? That's and Kelly and I've had a lot of conversation about how to best approach that and for it to make sense. That's why that last slide is so visual when you think about where all of those sensors are at. Cosmetic is really hard definition this day and age. You know, if it's a small dent that can be PDR'd, maybe that's an opportunity and that qualifies as cosmetic. But man, you get beyond that and you're removing. We have cameras in our fender flares. I mean, come on, you know, it's going to require a lot of skill and a lot of experience to understand what is a safe repair to ensure that vehicle works the way that our manufacturers, our engineers here designed it to work.
And I can attest to that because here in our own research department, and not on your vehicle, but on a couple of vehicles here, we've already just dismantled a bumper cover, damaged the camera.
Yeah.
And here we are having to replace that. So everything is getting more high tech. It's all going to require training. One question just came in, and I think you'll have a quick answer for this one. And I'm just going to put it out there. Will Rivian have their own collision repair centers?
Yeah, we're not in a position to make that statement one way or the other today. Look, it's hard to forecast. It's hard to read into the crystal ball. Does it make sense? Maybe it does make sense at some point in time. what would the benefit of a Rivian Collision Center be today? There don't have very many cars on the road, and it'll only be one location, right? That doesn't make sense today, but it may make sense at some point in time.
I thought that was going to be your answer, because the crystal ball, I mean, you shake it every once in a while and something else might come up.
Exactly. Yep, you got it.
Right. I think we're just about at the top of the hour.
Excellent.
I want to thank Mr. Frank Phillips from Rivian for joining us today. Great conversation. What do you think, Tim?
I'm just amazed. I mean, looking at the technology, looking at the plan that they put together, I'll call it a plan of attack if you want, to be able to get their network put together, make sure that they have everything that the shop needs for support, for training, everything that they have for the consumer. But this is a win-win for the industry. And not just for the industry, I think it's a win-win for anyone who's going to purchase a Rivian.
Oh, absolutely.
That's our goal, and appreciate the kind words, and that's our focus. We're going to keep our head down. We're going to keep doing the work and make sure that we're delivering on that commitment and ensure that our consumers are taken as best care of as they possibly can. Nobody likes to get in a wreck. Nobody comes to a collision center by choice unless it happens to be to get their old 66 Mustang restored, right? Otherwise, you're there for a reason that nobody's happy about.
I can say this, I know a lot of people on your team over there, and you have a stellar team put
Very
together.
fortunate.
And you guys always do good work where you're at. And I'm excited to see this come together. So, thank you again.
Appreciate it very much. Kelly and I thank our lucky stars every day that we've had the fortune and pleasure to get to work with these folks on our team. It's just it's incredible to get to be part of it. That's for sure.
It's a powerhouse, I can tell you that, because I've seen some of those resumes.
Appreciate that, Tim. That's for sure.
All right. What's up next, Tim?
Well, what we have at 12:30 Central Time, we're going to have an interview with Ian Morton. He's the owner of Fix Auto Thoroughbred and Sierra Vista Fix Auto. And then at 2 p.m., we're going to have a segment in Studio One where we're going to do some live setups and information about straightening small, medium, and large damage types, which should be pretty exciting. So again, Frank, I thank you for your time today. Excellent presentation. If we get any other questions that come in, we'll be sure to fire them off in an email and make sure you tell Kelly and the crew I send my regards, and looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, likewise, gentlemen. Appreciate your time and thanks for the invitation. Hope everybody has a great weekend and rest of the week.
All right, take care. Don't work too hard.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Take this out, bro. as Rivian.